Okay, and welcome back. We are going to get started with our next topic, going over building resilience in challenging times. So this is about finding a strength you didn't know you had. And sometimes when we get in situations and we don't have a point of reference, it gets a little hardy, or it's murkier. And when we have the option between flight and fight, we usually freeze. So let's look into how to do that. And, just knowing that resilience is your inner armor. It's not about avoiding hard times. It's about facing them with courage, and adding clarity and confidence, facing your fears head on. So when you build resilience, you become mentally tougher and emotionally steadier. That's hard for me to get out. So instead of breaking down when life tests you, which we can see all over the place that is happening right now, almost everywhere, right? This is to help you to bounce back stronger, and then you're wiser about it for the next time, and you can stay grounded so you don't flip out. And the more you go through these things, instead of trying to just go around them or avoid it, the more you go through the challenges and you're like, okay, well, let's get to the other side, right? Because there is another side, so you're like, let me get through this challenge. And then you have takeaways to keep with you, right? So the more you get those experiences and go through it, the more resources you have internally to pull. Okay, I've seen this before. Okay, this is how we should act this time because, last time it got kind of out of hand. So we're going to try something different. But if you never go through any challenges, how do you know what works and doesn't work for you? So this kind of inner strength transforms how you see yourself. So you stop being afraid of the challenge and you start seeing them as opportunities to grow. Why? Because you've learned a little more about yourself. And as you know, in everything that I talk about, it's you getting to know you, your voice being the biggest voice. But if you never take the time to be like making it a real thing, to look at it as you're going through it, how do you learn the things? If you go through something, just complete fear, just, I don't know, and just sporadically just hyperventilating and, that kind of issue, it doesn't do any good. You don't see positive results. Your body is feeling the effects of the stress. So why not go through it with a clear mind to the best of your ability? Because depending on what the situation is, it can be overwhelming, right? But in those situations, it's going to be hard. There's a challenge coming up. You understand and kind of foresee like, dang, I really don't want to be here, but we're going to make it happen kind of thing. Then as you're going through it, it's a little more peaceful each time. So start seeing them as opportunities. And one thing that I always say is that there's never a problem, there's only a plan, and there's always a solution. So if you take that with you and start looking at the different things that you're going through, which can be numerous, even how you intake new information because of what's been going on outside of ourselves that we have no control over, that we are watch happen and are like, what the fuck is going on? Like, really? And so we don't know what's about to happen. We know what it looks like. We know what they're saying, but I have no dog in the fight. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do anything. I just have to be on the receiving end of what is going on, right? And that can be scary. Don't get me wrong. Challenges aren't lollipops and sun raindrops and, the good stuff. It's scary. But as you go through them, because this is life and life is going to life for the rest of your life, how can you maneuver through it? Because there's a lot of people that have been here before you got here, and there's a lot of people going to be here after you got here. So it's like, how do I, while I'm in the moment, kind of take charge of the situation to the best of my ability? Resilience is not just survival, but self-mastery. And that is the goal of this program. So hi, I'm Judith Daniel, life coach, blah, 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 founder of the Futures Club. and author of the Life Transformation course, Success Starts Now. You can go to judithdaniellc.com, I think that's it, and get all the information you need and ask me any questions. Go to the Contact Me page and then let me know. Okay? So now that's out the way, let's go ahead and get started. Because I think this is very important. I happen to have lived the life of like 50 million people, and it was completely adverse. And all the situations let's say, like the show 911 with Angela Bassett, every episode they have, that was a different life that I lived. And those were the dramatic instances that has always seemed to find me. And I was like, oh my God, is this what the, okay. And it doesn't hurt to breathe through things, to take a minute, to hesitate before you make your decision. And that is one of the main things of resilience. So, like I said, I've had I don't even know what you call it. I like to use the word adverse, but most people might not recognize that as being a bad thing. So I have had a very challenging upbringing, or should I say had a very challenging upbringing. One of defeat, one of lack of clarity, having to find out and do it and learn it on my own, and choosing the route that I wanted to take. All the way to the point where God had to sit me down and say, who are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to people, or are you going to listen to me? Because I got you. You know I've been had you. Or are you going to listen to what their negativity says about you, or are you going to believe what I say about you? And so there's going to come in a time in your life where you have to make the choice. So do I give up my turn, meaning, and still be here, but I give up my turn of having peace, of having sanity, of keeping my morals and myself respectable and intact? Or do I say, oh my goodness, there's no other way. I have to do this to survive. When the Lord says, but I'm right here, I can show you what to do. I can give you insight. I can let you know what's going on and even what's about to happen. What road do you want to take? And almost like it says in the Bible, choose this day if you want to choose life or you want to choose death. You choose death to yourself, and you're gaining the shackles of the boxes that people put you in. Or with him, you're choosing life, and now we have a journey to take. We have somewhere that we're actually going. You're going to be stronger by the time you come out on the other side. And so I chose to walk with the Lord, right? There's no, that's no secret. A lot of people that know me, they know that I'm multifaceted in my spirituality, in my knowledge and understanding, and my purpose. So you too have a purpose here. No matter how hard it gets, no matter what it looks like, no matter the struggles and the heartaches, because we all have them. It's just that some of us have some tools that we can use and pull from because we've learned, we've studied, we've led this incredible journey that we didn't always know we were going to make it. But we still wanted to go instead of stop. You know what I'm saying? Like we still wanted to try, even if we fail. At least I tried, right? But there's a funny thing that happens when you keep trying. You look at those failures as, oh, now I got a new nugget added to my collection that I can pull out and use. Or, oh, I have a new mental capacity for when this kind of arises. I know what it looks like. I understand, okay, it might be a moment. And I can get through that because I got through it before. So let's use the scenario of money. And because, money comes and goes, right? So let's say if I'm working a job, I'm doing the best I can. I'm making the most that I can make at this time and giving my all. And I have a couple bills. I keep my lifestyle kind of simple. I keep my expenses low, but then there's an emergency that happens out of nowhere, and all of a sudden I have to make a choice. And now I'm choosing, okay, am I going to pay this on time, or am I going to take care of the emergency, right? Communication is the connecting factor when something happens. And most of the time in my family, we grew up, we don't tell people about our problems. We fix it and we try to move. But if we don't know how to fix it or how to move, and we're keeping the secret bottled up inside of us, and we're just sitting there like something in water. I don't even know what that saying is, but it's like you stuck, is what I'm trying to say. And you can't move because you don't know, but you keep hearing those voices come up in your head. Oh, don't tell nobody your problems. You just figure it out and you move forward. Nobody has to know your business. If they know your business, this is what's going to... No. Sometimes, if you don't know what to do, and someone else might know, they might have the answer. And then guess what? That helps to take the stress off of you. So it's not that we want to go through this life on our own. We have to have some sort of guidance or help in order to learn what to do. And if you're being so secretive and you don't know, how else are you going to learn it? Right? So you can go and ask other people. You can research that topic. You could do it the old-fashioned way and go to a library, right? But we don't really need that, as much anymore. But there's a way to find the answer. And then if it's something very local, and okay, you're getting all this information, you're learning about all this stuff, you still have to reach out and talk to someone to get the assistance that you need, right? So therefore, we have to stop being so afraid of something, whatever that thing is. That fear is what holds us back. But once we face it forward and we understand that, hey, there had to be someone else that's going through this kind of struggle or this kind of thing. I'm not the only one because I didn't get here first. I'm not the first human on the earth. It just feels that way because you might be new. You don't have a point of reference. And maybe the circle that you're keeping is not very good at giving positive or helpful advice. Or maybe that circle that you keep is very judgmental, and therefore you feel ashamed to speak out and say something that you need. So my question is, what good is that circle? Because it should be an uplifting trust for the people in your circle. And if you don't have them right now, once you start to look inward and you start to understand yourself better, the outside cultivates to the new you. And you will find that tribe. You will find those people that are on a similar journey. They might not have all the answers, but if you guys each bring your own perspective, you can't imagine how many problems can be solved because somebody has lived that. Somebody went through this, even though the other person didn't. And then now we have this conglomerate of information that we didn't have before. So if you don't have a circle you can trust, and you don't have people you can speak with, that circle might not be the best one. So we accept what we can control. Let me say that again. We accept what we can't control, but we focus on what we can. So worry drains you. You know what I'm saying? And resilience begins when you stop resisting reality and start redirecting the energy to what's within your influence. So when you're looking at the other people in your circle and everybody is like, no, this ain't good. Oh, you a punk if you do this. Or, oh, you look crazy if you say something about that because nobody else knows what you're talking about. Those kind of things. That reality is not healthy. And sometimes you have to start all over and find a new path. And that's even being resilient, being unafraid to be yourself, be with yourself, and learn yourself enough to know who should really be around you. Because even though it's the least talked about, a lot of people don't know who they are, so they can't make those definitive decisions in regards to their life. Because they're looking to other people for advice, or they're looking to how someone else did this, or, ooh, they have a roadmap that, they took. but we don't know their individual circumstances and why they took those roads that they took, or why they went the ways that they went. We have to understand ourselves to be able to do better at learning our path. And if you don't know yourself, how will you know what path you want to take? How do you know which way you go, what route you take, who you keep close, who you get far away? Because maybe you need some of those challenging people because you're like, ooh, that makes me do a little more research. That makes me elevate a little bit more because now I have to get a better understanding. Or you can say, you know what, that's depressing me. That's bringing me down. That seems like it's corrupting the decisions I'm trying to make. That's not healthy. But it's up to you to understand how you operate. So in order to do that, we can build a daily mental focus routine, right? It's like muscle building for your mind. And the mind gets stronger with consistent training. And even journaling, meditation, deep breathing, and reflecting build emotional durability. So sitting and having private time by yourself, even if it's 5 minutes, and saying, okay, let's just think about this. With no phones on, no TVs on, no nothing playing in the background. It's just you and the space that you're in. And you're literally taking time to think about a situation. You would be surprised at the amount of solutions that can come in the silence when you actually have time to think. And guess who's there speaking with you? You're analyzing. You're taking the time to say, okay, this is what I know. This is where I'm at. These are the possibilities. Okay, let's look at possibility A. Okay, let's look at possibility B. But then if we do A, then we don't have to do B. Okay, let's look at possibility C and how that can help too. You are coming up with a solution, but we don't take time to do that anymore. There's something always blaring in the background. There's something always going on. There's people always having opinions. And then we feel like because we don't have it together all the way, that there's something wrong with us. And then we go back even further in the shell instead of having the confidence to learn ourselves. So, exercise that muscle. And also, when you're faced with those adverse situations or those challenges, sit back and think. Okay, so we need some food. I always bring that up because my childhood food was like, if I have food, I'm successful. Okay, but we need food. How are we going to get some food? We don't want to starve to death. We know realistically we're not going to starve to death. There's going to be something that arises. How do we do it? And am I bold enough to take that action step when it comes to me? Or am I still worried about what other people would be saying, and that's affecting if I'm going to die of hunger or not? Or if I'm going to, the word I want to use, I don't want to say abuse myself. If I want to neglect my needs because of what someone else says, and because they say they're above doing A, B, C, or D, and I need to do A, B, C, or D, am I going to not do it because somebody else looks down on that? I hope you would choose you. And I hope you would say F to what they think. Why? Because your life is on the line. And that's who we care about. We don't care about the opinions of others because that's not doing anything for us. That's just letting us know what they think. But if they're not actually walking through this process, it's almost irrelevant. So, we're sitting there. We're thinking about it. We come up with an idea. Hey, they have food pantries all over the city. At least I would have something in my stomach. At least my children would have something in their stomach. At least we wouldn't die of hunger because I don't have the money in my pocket to do it right now. Or you can, okay, I'm a little afraid to go to a food pantry, but I know this restaurant closes at 10 and they're probably going to put some stuff in the trash. Or I can go and knock on a door and say, hey, I need some food. Can you help me? Or I can go down to the local police department, ask them if there's any kind of places of food pantries or any kind of place where they give out food or vouchers or, how do you do that? You see how there's more options than what we give ourselves credit for? We don't have to neglect ourselves when we need something. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. There's 1,000 ways to do something. It's just, what are we willing to do? And is our pride and our ego stopping us from nurturing ourselves? Because sometimes you have those decisions in life where you have to I got to do this or that. And I didn't even bring up the options talking about selling yourself in order to have money in your pocket. Because you don't have to go that far. There's other things that can be done before that even becomes an option on the table. And for me, that was never an option on the table. Why? Because I sought the Lord. And I always sat with Him, sat by myself, and we thought it out and thought of a plan. Because I know for me, from experience, the Holy Spirit leads me in all truth. And the Lord said that He's going to provide a way of escape every time. So I used Him and I said, you said this, what do we do now? And guess what? He provided that way of escape every time. That's why I'm still here, because I was able to escape that hunger, or I was able to escape that going without. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different ways for you to do something before it comes to a point where you have to break down on your morals. Don't get your morals and ego confused. They are two separate things. So we want to look at what is failure. You need to redefine that as feedback, not as an end-all be-all. Failure is not even failure. It's we don't do it that way because that way doesn't work. That's all it is. But people want to put these big old things associated with something that's so simple because they want to condemn something that they don't know anything about, which is you. That's why we have to be the loudest voice in any situation we're dealing with. And what is good for me right now? What do I think is the best road to take? So don't fear failure or that hesitated setback. Study it. Well, why didn't it work this way? Oh, okay. So we know we can't do that. Let's try again. Because you have time to try again. Because the end goal is getting that thing right. You understand? You're not running out of time doing it that way. So, resilient people extract lessons from every fall and use it to level them up. So we want to create a meaning-driven mindset. You want to find the purpose in your pain. Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Turn meanings and transform it from suffering into strength. And when you sit and you're alone and you get to think, that's when those moments are going to, the aha moment, that I seek. That's what I'm chasing when I'm doing all my work and my things, is I want that aha moment for you. Because that means you get it because you already had it. It just takes a few extra words to open the door to understanding. You are fully equipped. I'm just here to show you your wings and teach you how to fly. So again, we go back to leaning on that support system. And you know what? If you don't have a support system, who says you can't create one? Who says that you can't create a resource-based support system? Okay, so I'm in this new city. I got my job. We have a house. I have a car. Everything is not the best of the best worlds. But, okay, let's look at this. We're going to strategize how to run our estate. Okay? And you have to think in a mindset of that, of this is my estate, this is what we're dealing with, and this is how we're going to make it function and systematic. Right? So, I know that sometimes because stuff overlaps and emergencies can happen, I need to have backup plans to everything that I'm doing. So if I'm paying my phone bill, well, am I allowed to go down a notch on the months that I need to pay less for that? Or is it just a solidified one big bill that I have no room to negotiate or go back and forth when I need to, right? So I know one of the one of the positivities about a prepaid service is that they have different plans that you can use on the same phone at different times. So maybe this time I'm getting the $55 all inclusive. I can call Mexico and Canada, blah, blah, blah. And then on other months when it's like, oh, something happened with the car, I needed to change the tires. Now my I don't have as much as I thought I had. I can do a little $35 plan to get me through this month. And the next month we go back to what we really like, right? You have to be flexible in living this life. And I'm using day-to-day routine things in order to give examples, but even emotionally, we have to consider ourselves. And okay, what do we do in this situation? Or what do we do in that one? So if I'm doing all these things right and something still comes at me, and now I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, what do I have in reserve of a resource that I can call on and pull from? So you have a good job, you go to, Walmart or Kroger or wherever you do your grocery shopping, all of a sudden one month, okay, I can't do all that. Okay, what do I have in reserves? So I know that in our city we have food banks. I know that we have food stamp kind of voucher things. I know that we have, different kind of people that can go and get those things for you. I need to make a list of the things in my city. I need to know my city. I need to be an aware citizen of my city. Why? Because I'm trying to survive in it. And if I'm trying to survive in it, I can't just know one or two things. I have to know my surroundings. I have to take the time to investigate and figure out, okay, this is where we live. These are their things. This is what happens here. These are the resources I have at my disposal. Okay. So now we're here. We have our resources in place and we're going to work every day. We kind of like our job. And then we get an opportunity of education. And you can choose anything you want to study, anything you want to know. It's all there for you. So now you're going back to the drawing board. You're going back to your space and you're like, okay, if I want to do better, because this is paying the bills right now, but we know we're not at where we really want to be. And in order to get a raise or something of that sort, it's going to take some time. But if I get this education in this particular field of your passion, now that you have the opportunity and the window is open, ooh, if I had a choice, this is what I would do. That is where our plan needs to go to next. Okay, so how do we cultivate that? Getting the education and working and taking care of possible children and making sure that we have enough money to do everything we need to do. Okay, now we need to look into the FAFSA. Now we need to look into the resources of student loans. Now we need to see, okay, I can do this. Can I do it from my home? Can I stay here? Do I have to live on campus? What would be the cheaper route to take? And if I move to live on campus, can I still work my job? So there's a lot of different things, that we have to think about. And it's not just I feel like this and I can't do anything because I tried it this way and it didn't work. Because that's not the end of the story. That's just one way. And remember, there's 1,000 ways to do the same thing. It just depends on the route you want to take. And if you're open to taking this adventure, or if you're closed off to taking the adventure because of what other people are telling you or what they think or the hierarchy they hold, or the status they have in the world. And so now you're feeling inadequate because you're not there. So you don't want to make moves that would, make people look down on you or like you don't have it. But guess what? If you don't have it, you don't have it. But you're trying to build to have it. So there's nothing wrong with that. And then who knows, at the end of this thing, you might be elevated more than them. So you can't let them justify the moves you make when they're not even the ones that are in that situation. So strengthen your self-talk. Be your biggest fan. Sit down and really have a genuine talk with yourself. It might sound crazy to somebody who hasn't tried it before, but when you do, you'll see that, oh, this is how they get there. This is actually what they do. Huh. It's not just to be the biggest and the baddest and that kind of thing. It's the really sitting down with yourself and understanding who you are and what you'll accept and what you won't accept and why. And you have to talk to yourself like someone you love. You have to fall back in love with you so that you can make the best decisions for yourself. You can't beat yourself up and say, well, I don't want to, because we've never, shut up. Like, don't do that. You talk to yourself like someone you would talk to that you love. And guess what? 9 out of 10 people don't tell themselves that they love themselves. They are going through the motions. They are silencing their wants and needs for other people's wants and needs. They are more likely to disregard their feelings and seek to help someone with their feelings outside of themselves. Instead of putting the mask on themselves first, oh no, let me help them. Oh, I didn't get no sleep. That's okay. Let me come to your rescue. Yeah, I feel dizzy and sick, but let me come to your rescue. Oh yeah, I wanted to go and do this thing, but if you need the money, because for whatever reason you don't have it, yeah, let me give you my last, so then I'll lose out what I really wanted to do, so that you can have what you wanted to do. We have to be our biggest fans. We have to look at ourselves like a person we treasure. Like a person whose opinion matters and their feelings are valid. And we want them to be well also. So yeah, I got $20 left out of my week. It was a hard week, and I am looking forward to pampering myself with a movie. I want to go out. I want to have me some popcorn. I got a Regal membership, and they are giving me a free ticket because it's my birthday and a free popcorn. And I just have to buy the drink, and I can upgrade for $3. And that is just going to make my week to go and relax, be out of the house, and just chill. Even though we got all these streaming sites, I want to go out and do it because I want to. Next thing you know, somebody comes along. Oh my goodness. I need da 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 because da 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 and da 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 da. And I don't want to wait. Or I just want it now. Or not a life and death situation, but it's like okay, I just want this. Can you give it to me? Because I couldn't get it for myself. And I don't want to wait. Kind of thing is how they're coming to you. It's not like hey, we haven't ate in 7 days and I really need something to eat. And I don't care what it is, a pack of noodles. Like, if it's not that sort of thing, it's okay to say no. And to not care if anyone is upset with you or not. Why? Because you worked hard for that $20. That's yours. You have plans for it. So now you would neglect yourself, your plans, your calm serenity time that you already know is going to put you in the mood and give you the relaxation that you need to make it through another week. You're going to neglect all that for yourself to give to somebody else because they don't want to wait. And you don't know if they'll give it back to you. You don't have it to give. You don't have it to give. You just paid all your bills and you kept that little $20 for yourself. Everything is done. You got food in your house. You got gas in your car. You don't need for nothing, but you really wanted to use that for that. Don't neglect yourself. You tell that person, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have it. I don't have any extra right now. And then let's move a little forward. Can we continue with this just for a second? Because it's an actual scenario that had to play out. And let's say, you told them, hey, I don't have any extra, right? And then you go to the Regal Cinema. You watch the movie that your mouth was fixed on you watching. Your eyes, you was ready for that popcorn. You got to upgrade. You got your large drink and some candy, right? Because we know it costs $1 million to go to a movie. And you went in there, you sat in that seat, you reclined the chair, you put your legs up, you sat back in the perfect seat in the middle of the theater. There was really no one else around, and you got to chill out. And you got to laugh. Or you got to cry with the movie. You got to experience it. You got to just do the thing that you wanted to do. And it felt good. And it turned out good. And the movie was bomb, right? It was everything you thought it was about to be, right? The popcorn was nice and fresh. The drink stayed cold the whole time. Like, you know what I'm saying? We need to celebrate these little wins, right? And enjoy ourselves. And you enjoyed yourself. And you're feeling good that next day. You went to work and you saw that person again. And they said, so what did you do yesterday? Oh man, I went to this movie and my popcorn was hitting. Like, that movie was so good. And I just enjoyed that 2 hours of just peaceful, mindless enjoyment. You know what I'm saying? And you just sitting there like, I had a good time. And then they're looking at you pissy faced, right? Because like, well, why didn't you? I asked you for blah, blah, blah. You said you didn't have it, right? And then you're like, well, yeah, I didn't have extra. I told you that. And then they go into the point of making it clear that, well, if I ask you for something, you had something, you could have gave that to me instead. Now, how selfish is that? For somebody to go in your pockets and tell you what to do with what you have after you worked hard for it. And it wasn't a life and death situation. It wasn't like they're going to die if they don't get this. You were like, no, I chose myself. Because this is what I had planned for myself. And I didn't have any extra for you. That's not my problem. Right? Now they're sitting there, gonna be, because you have the audacity to choose yourself over me, right? Come on now. Don't act like people don't act like that. And then they get to going off at the mouth. Well, next time you need something, we'll see if I help you out. You know, the different things like that. But it's like, but I told you I didn't have extra. And you don't have to know what I'm doing with what I have. I just don't have extra for you. And that's okay. Say it with me. That's okay. And if you haven't learned it, people are selfish and people want what they want. And they expect that when they say something about it, other people are supposed to jump at the opportunity to fulfill those needs. That's not true. That's not how this works. Especially when you're trying to build a relationship with yourself. Especially when you're taking that extra time to show yourself that you love yourself. You don't put yourself on the back burner for someone else. When it's your moment to take that moment for yourself, you take that moment. You show yourself that you are valued. rebuild that relationship with yourself that, hey, I'm going to put you first. You are at the forefront of my mind, because if you're not good, we're not good. So I'm going to do the things that it takes in order to make sure you're okay. And you should never feel bad about catering to your needs. But people would try to make you do that. Why? Because they can't do it for themselves, so they want you to do it for them. And then when you say no, now the whole world is falling apart and I'm a piece of blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. And that's okay. People can feel how they feel. That's none of your business. It's not your business to know how they feel about you or to care about you, because you can't get in their mind to change their mind. And we are not people pleasers. We exist with you. We would love to be in cahoots with you, but I have to be in cahoots with myself first. I have to know that I'm okay before I'm giving my last to someone else that will very well have it. It just might take a little bit of time, but they're so, I need it right now. That's not my problem. Because when I have it, I do share. And sometimes you don't even give it back. So what am I in a hurry of throwing my money away for that I worked so hard for? I just want to give you a different perspective. Now, it might sound harsh, but are we going to be in this world depressed because we gave away stuff and we said yes when we really wanted to say no? Or are we going to be honest with ourselves and say no when it's time to say no? And live realistically. Stay present, not paralyzed by what someone else might think or what might happen in the future. In tough times, stay grounded and in the now. Anxiety lives in the future, so we can't put our mind on what somebody else is going to feel like if we don't do for them and we do for ourselves instead. That's not our problem. Because I still have to be in this body. I still have to walk this journey. And this is what I need for my journey right now, is to help myself, because I'm limited in my funds as well. But if I've allocated everything and this is what I have for my enjoyment, why would I throw away my enjoyment? Because you want enjoyment. The power lives in the present. And being able to be realistic with yourself and taking the time to say, hey, I'm making plans with you and I'm going to keep my word to you because you are important. Make yourself feel important. Let yourself know that you value yourself. And the more you do it, remember when we talked about that experience, and the more we go through it, the more you'll feel better at being with yourself and loving yourself by giving it what it needs, not neglecting it, not putting other people first, but making sure that you're actually okay first. And then if we have abundance, we can pull from the abundance where it's not going to affect anything about our day-to-day or what we need to do. When we know that we're all right before we try to give to someone else. And a lot of people don't have that. And then they end up getting mad with themselves, and then they feel bad, and then they start down-talking themselves like, dang, I wish I could have, why did I do that again? And I need to do better. And I'm just, and then you get into this spiral that never had to be there in the first place with you just saying no. Because how someone else feels about you is not your problem. That's their feelings. That's their lane. Those are their thoughts. That's not your thoughts. Practice emotional agility. Feel your feelings without letting them rule you. Say, hey, you know what? I feel like I need this for me. I know they're asking me for it, but yeah, I would feel bad by saying no because, they're asking for it. So of course, if someone's asking for it, they should get it. No, that's not very true. You have to think about you. So then you're not out at the end of it all. Right? And now you, going back to our movie scenario, you can go into your next week happier, feeling better, feeling accomplished, and feeling like you were the head of your life. Like you really put yourself first. You really enjoyed and had a good time. And you'll like to do that more often. And you set small goals for momentum, When the big picture feels overwhelming, shrink your focus. Small wins rebuild belief in yourself one step at a time. So, okay, I need to do something for me every week. I need to just set some time aside, set $20, set whatever, and do something for me. What is that going to be? Well, I got to pay all the bills. I ain't going to have no money this week. But I do like being by the water. And they do have a park on the other side of town. Take yourself a walk by the water. You understand? Do what makes you happy. And you have to assess it as a game plan. The reason why people live mostly paycheck to paycheck is because they don't realize that they have enough to do what they need to do. They just need to revamp how they're allocating things and at what time. So you get paid every 2 weeks. You know that the rent is due on the 1st. Why not break your whole paycheck down? Let's say you get about, $1,000. Let's just put it at a number. You get $1,000 a month, every 2 weeks, right? And your rent just happens to be $1,000. Why not take $500 out of that 2-week pay period and just pay it for the rent, right? And then the next 2 weeks, you take another $500, you got your rent paid. And you also, during that 2-week period, had an extra $500 in your pocket. Now, you don't have to pay the electric twice a month. You pay the electric one time. Maybe it's about $200. So then 1 week, you have $300 because you spent $200 on the electric and $500 on the rent, right? So now your major expenses are done. And then you have $300. Okay, maybe I'm going to pay for I'm going to get gas in the car. I'm going to get groceries. I'm going to pay for my streaming service. I'm going to pay my phone bill. And guess what? You get all those things out the way. The next 2 weeks comes around. You're paying $500 for the rent. Now you have $500 in your hand with no bills due. And what do? You go get some more groceries. You might be able to put $50 to the side for savings. And then I don't know what you do with the rest of it. You see what I'm saying? So there's a way that you're not just living from paycheck to paycheck, but you still have a little bit in your hands every 2 weeks, so you're never broke. Right? And now you're able to put a little bit away for savings. Let's say you're putting $50 away every 2 weeks, just in a savings account and leaving it and don't touching it. And then, you figure out what you do with that at the end of the year. Maybe that's your Christmas money. So now you don't have to boggle your mind over that. You see what I'm saying? There's a way to live and to have it and to be able to fulfill all the needs that you have. And then we elevate, right? And then it doesn't seem so overwhelming when you break it down. Why? Because now you're building that muscle of having that alone time to think about things to run your estate the best way possible. And when I say estate, it could be anything. You can be dealing with a relationship. You can be dealing with your job. You can be dealing with your bills and your actual estate, and when I say estate, I mean your home, whatever that may be. If it's an apartment, that's your estate. You have to make it function and systematic for it to work right, because you don't want to be overwhelmed. But it's like, if we don't have those alone time and those quiet times to actually think about things and be reasonable and look at the realistic things that we have going on and seeing where we can cut back or seeing where we can move forward, we'll never really know. We're just like, oh, dang, I don't got enough. Oh, I got to pay all this. I got to pay all that. So, it took like a week of sacrifice to get the ball rolling how I wanted it to roll. And it worked out. So you have to try things. And maybe your rent is a little bit less, I don't know, or a little bit more. So now you're taking $600 because your rent is $1,200 every 2 weeks. And then you still got about $400 left in your pocket. Right? So you're not broke. And you can go 2 weeks. You can get enough food for 2 weeks. Right? And then every 2 weeks you just go into the grocery store. So there is some way to make it and a way to live and to not be depressed about it or feel overwhelmed. We just have to take the time to grow and learn and experience to become resilient and resourceful. And then at the end of it, you start celebrating your endurance. Like, man, it's been a month, or let's say 3 months, and I was able to save $300. And I don't have anything I have to do with it. It's just sitting there for if something happens. And now I don't have to pull out of my day-to-day paycheck or my every 2 week paycheck for an emergency. I have an emergency stash that I have over there. Right? You become resilient. And now we're playing this game of life as something we can win, something we can achieve, something we can have a great doing in, right? There is a struggle that comes with this life. We all know it. But it doesn't have to be as hard as we think. We just need to take some time and get into that mindset of, okay, I really want to do this. I want to work this out. I want to know where I can do whatever I can do. And then you start planning. And then you start strategizing. And then you see what is really necessary right now and what is not. And what, after I get the momentum and the allocation of the funds or whatever it is, and figure out a grocery schedule and figure out all these things, then I can bring it back in a couple months. But for now, while we're getting everything in order, this is what we have to do, right? Now you have a sense of accomplishment. You're the one running your life. You're taking out that extra feeling of overwhelmed. You're not so depressed because you're like, look, I'm handling it. And it's going well. And then maybe you want to go in that savings because you're like, you know what? I deserve to da-da-da-da-da. And I've saved $1,200. I'm going to take $50 of that, and I'm going to just have my day. And I'm going to go whatever you want to do, right? Or however much. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm trying to be realistic with it's yours. Do what you want to do with it. But give it to yourself first. Think about you and the ones that are dependent upon you first before you try to put the mask, help someone else. Because if you just don't got it for the next 6 months, no matter what you have in your hand, because you have goals of this, this, and this for your savings, then you just don't have it. And we need to start learning to say no more. And not worrying about what they think. Because if they were in that position, of course they would give it to themselves first. It's definitely okay. Don't put that extra pressure on you because you're working as hard as you can. You understand? You're doing the best that you can. And if you just don't have the abundance to be giving somebody else something, that is okay. And now you're giving yourself an emotional resilience. to say yes to yourself. And that feels way better when you take care of yourself and you know that everything is handled how it should be handled. And let's say you don't have any money left. You paid all your bills. Everything went well. There were no emergencies. You were able to handle and get everything together. That feeling of satisfaction of, wow, I really did this. This month was fantastic. We were able to eat every day. I had plenty of gas for my car. I paid all the bills and didn't have the headache or the worry of, oh no, what if? And I feel good. And I paid my streaming services and my entertainment stuff, so now I can chill out at home. Or, because I saved $300, if I want to, I can go into my savings and pull out something if I need it. But because everything is taken care of, you don't really need it. That feels good. Do things that make you feel good. And then when you get to a point of being able to have abundance, let's say you elevated your education, now you've elevated your paycheck, you've elevated your living conditions, you've elevated your transportation, you've elevated your wardrobe in things that make you feel like your true self. You've done all these things for yourself, and now you are like, okay, I'm in a point that I can help someone else if they need it. Not a lot, because I'm still, having this for the savings, or have these things planned for myself. But if somebody needs a $20, okay, now I'm in a position where I can help with $20. And you know what? It may take a year. It may take 2 years. It may take 5 years for you to get everything just right how you need it. And during that time, you don't have it to give to other people. And that's okay, because you have a goal in mind for you. And doing A, B, and C is what it takes to get there. And you don't have to feel bad about pampering yourself or about giving yourself something that you want because you worked hard and you deserve it, and it's coming from your pocket to you. You can't worry about what other people don't have, but you can share your story with them. And you can say, hey, this is what I did to kind of change things around. It took a little sacrifice in the beginning, but now I'm on my way to where I need to go. And I can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. Because, how do they say it? It's better to teach a man how to fish than to just give him your haul. Right? Because now they can go back and do that same thing and be in a better position all the way around and not have to need anything from anyone. So build that resilience. Put yourself first. Strengthen emotionally so that you don't feel bad about the things that you can't control. And you can't control what other people are doing with what they have, or the fact that they need or want something. You understand? And now that you're putting that face mask on yourself, you're taking that time to sit and think, you can actually breathe and feel good. And you understand, oh, this is what I need to do more often. Take that time to sit and think and strategize. Get these things in order so then, maybe my goal is to have more free time to play. Or I like to go to karaoke Tuesdays. And I want $50 because I'm going to get me a drink. I'm going to get some wings and nachos. And I need to have enough for an Uber. or whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? But whatever it is that is your love of what to do with you, do that. And do it for yourself first. And if you're still struggling, there's no way you need to be doing anything like major for anyone else, because that's going to set you back. And you don't go into your savings for other people. That is strictly for your needs. That's off limits. That's not even an option. Because if you keep taking out of there for other people and they're not even giving it back, you're not going to hit your goal. You put the mask on you first. I know it may sound harsh, but it's not. It's called self-perseverance. It's called loving yourself. It's called nurturing yourself, valuing yourself. Because if those are your true friends, those people that are around you that are always asking you for things, they're also going to ask you, well, how did you do that? And I see you doing better now, and you still don't have money to help other people out? Nope, not yet. My goal isn't reached. But I can show you how I did and what I did. And now guess what? Now you have a mastermind meeting. And now you're teaching them, this is what I did. This is how I strategized. And they're like, oh my goodness, I can do that. And guess what? You just showed them the aha moment. And that they had it in them all the time, just needed somebody with a few extra words to help open that door. Now you're paying it forward. Now you're putting the responsibility back in their hands to take care of themselves. And they can take that advice, or they don't have to. It's up to them. And it's not your problem. Because you're not going to reap any consequences or any rewards off of the choices that they make for themselves. You're just showing them a little something that you learned. Why? Because you tried it and it wasn't working out before. So you grab that lesson and you try it again. I hope this hit home. Building resilience. It's important. And there is a healthy way to go about that. All right. Until next time. Deuces.